Hi, Brian with RP Sports here, aka Recovery Pump. Going to unbox the RPX 2020 today and tell you a little bit about it. The RPX 2020 is the more clinical and advanced model unit of the recovery pump devices. But today we're going to break down some of the reasons why and what sort of value you would get in purchasing the RPX 2020. So first things first, before you take it out of this box, do yourself a favor and download the Recovery Pump application to your smartphone. Android, iOS, Recovery Pump, one word. Download that application and get yourself ready to sync and pair with your unit. It saves a lot of time and energy. It also makes functionality of the unit just a lot easier. Going from left to right here in the box, power supply. This is a standard adapter. It is universal, so you can use this anywhere in the world. It also comes with a few adapter plugs so that this unit can be modified, or so that this can be modified, and you can plug it into any outlet in the world. Next, you've got a blocker plug. This is an important piece. Don't lose it. Anytime you're going to be using a single garment, say an arm sleeve, you would want to block off one of the ports with this blocker plug. There is a nice accessory for the RPX 2020. It's a neoprene sleeve. It's got a little pocket on the back of it that you can slide this into for storage. The neoprene sleeve also serves to protect the pump when in travel. So let's go ahead and take the control unit out and take a look at it. Again, this is the more advanced, more clinical model. There is a lot that you can customize with this, and most of which you can do from the unit display itself. You don't need the Recovery Pump app to operate this, but the Recovery Pump app gives you a few additional features and really will help you learn about what all of the functionality of this unit is so that you can get the most out of it. Before we get to the good stuff, let's take a look at this thing from behind. This is the power switch. Out of the box, turn this thing on and you will have some battery life in it. Usually comes out of the box with about half power or 2/3 power. The power switch is important. Without turning it on, you're not going to be able to use the unit. That's obvious. However, when you turn this power switch off, it completely disengages the battery. And we did that for a very specific reason. We don't want this battery draining on you when the unit is not in use. So we completely disengage the battery when the power button is switched off. The trade-off here is that the battery will not accept a charge when this is switched off. So when it comes time to charge your unit, and you're going to get about 6 to 8 hours of treatment out of this battery, you need to make sure that this power switch is turned on. This is obvious. The ports here is where you would plug your garments in. Something to note about the RPX 2020, if you want to utilize our 8-chambered garments, these are garments that no one else offers, full 8-chambered pantsuit and a half jacket. You need the RPX for that. There's a more robust compressor in this unit than in the more portable RP Lite, but this unit is capable of and compatible with all of the recovery pump garments, including those 8-chambered garments. So let's take a look at the buttons on the front of the screen. This one's important. This is your friend, mode/menu. Yes, it has 2 names, and that's because it serves 2 purposes. When this unit comes out of the box, it's going to be in recover mode. Okay, so there are built-in programs on this. A lot of people ask us about protocols. These are not necessarily protocols, more so just what we have found the majority of our clientele uses this device for and what settings they like when using it for that particular application. So one of the really nice things about Recovery Pump, because it's clinical compression, is that there's a wide pressure range from 20 millimeters of mercury all the way up to 100 millimeters of mercury, and there's a specific pressure metric, which means you get to control from the millimeter of mercury the pressure that's going to be delivered during treatment. So one big advantage of having that wide pressure range and a precise pressure metric is that this product can be used for multiple applications, not just daily muscle recovery. We're not just putting garments on someone and squeezing. Okay, what we're doing is we're allowing the users to get very precise and specific with pressure settings so they can use this pneumatic compression therapy across the entire recovery and performance continuum. So what do I mean by that? Normal protocols or suggestions for pressure in daily muscle recovery are anywhere from 60 to 80 millimeters of mercury. So when you open this device and you turn it on, it's in the recover mode, the settings are going to be about that, somewhere between 60 and 80 millimeters of mercury. Great for daily muscle recovery. But if you've got some athlete that's dealing with acute swelling or post-operative swelling, maybe an acute injury, you're going to want a much more delicate compression cycle. So having that wide pressure range allows you to go down to 20 millimeters of mercury and get some more delicate compression on an area to help encourage that fluid evacuation and really manage that swelling. Additionally, being able to control the pressure in such a precise metric allows you to control the length of the cycle. So if you're treating at 80 or 90 millimeters of mercury, the cycle itself is going to take longer because it takes longer to arrive at that pressure than it would, say, at 30 or 40 millimeters of mercury. So the second mode is warm up. And generally, if you're going to use this product before physical activity, you want a faster compression cycle, a little bit less pressure. So those settings are all preset into each one of these programs, and you toggle from program to program by using this mode button. Again, the mode button has two names, mode/menu. So other than toggling from program to program, by the way, there's 5 preset programs on this device. Other than toggling, you can also access the menu. Menu is really important. When in a default program, there are numerous settings that can be adjusted. Again, this is specific to the RPX 2020, but you can control everything within that compression sequence, from specific pressure in each cell of the garment to release time, which is the time between compression cycle, to hold time, which is the time that the compression holds before it releases. There are numerous settings that can be adjusted, and those settings are accessed by holding in this mode menu button. When you hold it in for a couple of seconds, a menu will appear. Then you use the arrows to toggle from setting to setting in the menu. Now, each program may have its own unique menu settings. So for example, isolation is one of the modes, and that allows you to target a specific area of the compression boot or the compression sleeve. When you're in isolation mode, there will be additional menu settings that can be adjusted. For example, which cells do you want to isolate? You won't see that menu setting in any other program, only in isolation. The last of the 5 default programs is custom. This allows you to build your own custom and preferred treatment parameters. And then using the web application, you can actually store and share those settings with others. Okay, so that's it for the buttons on the left-hand side of the screen. Mode menu button, again, keep in mind it serves 2 purposes. And then the toggle switches. Up and down allows you to, when in the menu, toggle between settings. When you're not in the menu and when you're on what's called the home screen, where you can actually see the program that you're in, the up and down buttons will adjust pressure. On the home screen, you also see the time of the treatment, which is adjustable, and that timer will count down during the treatment. However, you can't adjust the time from the home screen. These are just the 2 most, I think, interesting and most viewed settings in any program, so we have them both on the home screen. If you want to adjust time on any program, you would simply use the menu button by holding it in and then toggle to the time setting and make your adjustments there. That's a lot easier to do using the app. It's a little bit more functional that way. That's why I encourage you at the beginning of the video to go ahead and download that app. The last and final button on the face of the screen is the start-stop button. That's pretty self-explanatory. It does allow you to pause the treatment. So if you have to get up for something while treating, you can use that button to pause where you are, go, fetch your beer or answer the door, whatever it is you're doing, and then come back to the treatment. The other useful feature with that button is when you're in the menu. Let's say you're at the gradient setting, which allows you to adjust pressure in each cell, cell by cell. This button takes you back to the previous screen. Something to note with the RPX 2020 is anytime you make adjustments in a mode, it stores it. This unit is a personal unit. It knows that you are in control of this and assumes that you like the settings that you changed it to more than the settings that we sent in default. So those settings will be stored to that mode. If you want to go back to factory defaults, you simply access the menu for that mode by holding the button in, scroll to the bottom of the menu, select default. You'll hear 3 beeps and you're back to default settings in that mode. So that's it for the RPX 2020. Thank you for tuning in, for learning more about this incredible device. Please follow us on social media, like us, it really helps. We feel good when you like us. And stay tuned for other informative videos on garments, devices, anything and everything recovery pump.